yourself. This one's very important. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? And we're talking about a marriage. Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about, and we have a description of him with scales are his pride. So the pride of him is like scales, not literal scales. So let's focus now on the very telling 3 to 4 verses here that are really going to tell us a lot. I'm going to read them and I'll come back and explain the real implications of what we see here. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth goeth burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. I'll come back and tell you what this means.
The truth is, behind closed doors, the P word became my secret sin at age 10.
Okay, remember we're in chapter 41 of the book of Job. All right, now I just read this, and we were all the way down to here, and we have some key points to keep in mind about by his neesings a light doth shine, eyelids like the morning, out of the mouth burning lamps, sparks of fire, out of his nostril goeth smoke, okay, and his breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out his mouth, okay, illumination, neesings. All right, we're getting a very detailed description of the Antichrist and even the locusts that come out of the inner earth. And I will show you that without a doubt. Before we do that, now you have to keep your thinking caps here and remember what I've showed you here. And remember and reflect on this phraseology, and you'll hear some of these descriptions come out in this. Watch what I'm about to show you. This is going to be out of this book here, okay? Which is a great book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum on the Mechanics of Consciousness. Great book. I highly recommend it. Well, in this portion of the book that we're talking about chakras and kundalini. Now, I urge you to do your own research if you don't know anything about chakras or kundalini. I don't have time to catch you up. What I'm going to tell you here will catch you up on what I've said so far. Let's read this here. The kundalini, as described in yoga literature, is said to be an energy coiled up like a serpent at the base of the spine. When this energy is awakened, it enters the spine, rises up along it, and is seen or perceived as a luminous serpent by the person having the experience. Once it has risen into the head, the luminous rod hopefully pierces the top of the head. That is, the rod-like energy beam is seen as a projection through the skull, pointing upward. When this happens, the person is said to be illuminated. Now, we have some key things for you to keep in mind. This is description of Kundalini rising, which is going to rise along the path from the pelvis all the way to the head. Along the spine will be found from the pelvis to the head 7 points of energy, which are known as chakras. Now, this is some Far Eastern metaphysics and philosophy when we're talking this. But of course, it is definitely tied up to the New Age, and at the same time, it does have scientific merit. So I'm not talking bad about anybody that practices this or studies this. What I'm telling you is that it is in the scriptures, and it is being referred to as these locusts being, having, and possessing Kundalini. This Kundalini power, which will be a heightened sense of spiritual energy, which covers things as clairvoyance, clairaudience, healing abilities. Now, the same things that we're talking about with the powers of these supposed aliens. Now, remember, I'm telling you that they are going to come into physical bodies like avatars. These spirit beings will be brought in from one vessel to another, from a crystal vessel into a flesh and blood vessel. All spirit energy in the 4D, in these four dimensions, must be maintained inside of a vessel. If not, you don't see them. You don't see them. That's why the angels of the Lord in the Bible almost always appeared as men. Now, we had the good angels and the bad angels at this time because there was a division on earth. There was both good and bad beings that were taking the form of men. So anyway, focus on this and I'll come back.
Let's just hope that we have our 7 years with the next Obama president, King Nebuchadnezzar, who saves the people. Let's pray. That's all I got to say about that.